The sky was painfully clear the day they buried her father, so bright it felt cruel, as if the world refused to dim itself for the little girl who had just lost everything. 12-year-old Eliana Duarte stood at the edge of the grave, her small hands trembling around a wilted white flower. The breeze brushed her dark hair across her face, hiding tears she no longer had strength to wipe away. When the coffin finally disappeared beneath the earth, she realized with a sinking, hollow feeling that she was now completely alone. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that bring hope, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Grandma's Book. Your support helps these emotional stories reach more hearts. The cemetery emptied quickly. People who had once promised to always be there drifted away without looking back. Only her father's old neighbor, Dona Maribel, remained for a moment, just long enough to touch Eliana's shoulder with a sigh that carried more pity than comfort. Then even she left. Eliana stayed, staring at the ground until the sun rose high and her shadow shrank into nothing. It wasn't until her stomach growled and the caretaker began closing the gates that she finally walked home through the dusty afternoon streets, but when she reached the small, peeling white house she grew up in, her heart sank even deeper. Her father's distant cousin, Rogerio, stood at the doorway with a hard expression and a stack of papers in his hands. "This house isn't yours," he said coldly without greeting her. "Your father owed me money. I'm selling it. You have 10 minutes to take what you can and leave." Eliana's breath caught. "But, where will I go?" "That's not my problem," he replied, stepping aside mechanically. "Hurry." She wanted to scream, to insist her father would never have allowed this, but she knew arguing would be useless. Within minutes she found herself standing on the street, clutching a small fabric backpack filled with nothing but a school notebook, a sweater, and a photo of her father smiling beside a fishing boat. The door slammed behind her, shutting out the last familiar space she had left. The sun beat down, bright and merciless. With nowhere to go, Eliana wandered through the quiet afternoon streets, her shoes scraping the sidewalk, her throat tight with the kind of fear a child should never have to feel. She walked past the bakery where her father used to buy warm bread on Sundays, past the little park where they fed pigeons, past the corner shop where he always greeted the owner by name. Everything felt strange now, empty, as if the world had lost color hours past. Finally, exhausted and dizzy, she collapsed onto the steps outside a tall glass building she had never seen before, one of those fancy corporate places her father would point at and say, "One day, Filha, the world will open doors for you." But the only door opening now was the building's front entrance as a group of well-dressed workers exited for lunch. Most walked past without noticing her. One man, however, stopped. He wore a gray suit, a clean white shirt, and the kind of polished shoes that reflected the sun. His hair was silvered at the temples, and there was something quiet but heavy in his eyes, as if he had seen more loss than most. His name was Leonardo Vescari, a millionaire entrepreneur known across the city for his cold, distant business style. But on this day, something about the little girl sitting alone on his company stairs pulled him back to a place he thought he had locked away forever. "You look tired," he said gently, kneeling down so he wouldn't tower over her. "Where are your parents?" She hesitated. "My father, he's gone. And I don't have anywhere to go now." The words came out shaky and fragile, as if she feared they might crumble in the air. For a moment, Leonardo simply stared at her. Then he took a slow breath, one that trembled just slightly. Years ago, he had lost his own daughter in an accident, something he had never spoken of publicly. Seeing Eliana's lost eyes felt like staring at a ghost from another lifetime. "Come inside," he said finally. "You need water. And food." Eliana followed him hesitantly. The building's cool interior was a sharp contrast to the burning afternoon outside. He guided her to a small lounge and brought a bottle of water and a sandwich. She ate slowly at first, then faster, as if trying to make the food last forever. Leonardo watched her with a mix of sadness and something else, something awakening. Something protective. Over the next hour, he asked gentle questions. Not prying, just trying to understand. She told him about her father, about the eviction, about wandering until her legs nearly gave out. She tried to stay calm, but when she mentioned her father's smile, her voice cracked and tears spilled over. Leonardo felt a tightness in his chest he hadn't felt since he held his own daughter for the last time. Without thinking, he placed a hand over Eliana's trembling one. She didn't pull away. By late afternoon, the sunlight softened into a warm golden tone that filled the office. Leonardo stood, walked to the window, and stared at the city below, the city that had once taken everything from him, and now placed a lost child at his doorstep. Then he turned back to her, his voice steady. Pack whatever you have. You're coming with me. She blinked in confusion. What do you mean? I mean, he said gently, no child who has lost everything should be alone. Not today. Not ever again. Tears filled her eyes, but this time they weren't only from sorrow, they carried a fragile spark of hope. The next few days changed her life. Leonardo contacted lawyers, uncovered the truth behind the cousin's lies, and ensured Eliana's father's memory was honored properly. He set up a scholarship in her name and promised her a home, not out of charity, but out of something deeper, something that healed both of them in unexpected ways. Weeks later, on a quiet morning, Eliana placed the photo of her father on a new shelf in Leonardo's home. She whispered, "I'm safe now, Dad," and for the first time since the funeral, she felt it was true.